Fixing your mindset is wrong. Not the goal of fixing it, but the approach that you use to do it. And I know that sounds like a bold claim, but hear me out. Because the thing is, you've probably tried everything already. The books, the journaling, the breathwork, the mindset courses, the affirmations, the therapy, you've done it all. And yet somehow you still feel stuck. You still somehow manage to self-sabotage right before the breakthrough. And you still keep waking up at 3 a.m. asking yourself, why do I keep getting in my own way? And the worst part, you know that you're capable of so much more because you feel it. But here's the thing, no matter how much you try, something keeps pulling you back to the same old version of yourself. So what if the problem wasn't effort? What if the problem is that what you've been taught about your mindset is fundamentally wrong? Because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why the conventional approach to mindset change doesn't work for you and exactly what you can do about it. The information trap. Most mindset work teaches you what to think differently, but not how to become different. You see, there's a massive gap between knowing something intellectually and actually knowing how to embody it, how to be it. For example, you can read all the books on limiting beliefs, but still when it comes to that high stakes situation that you need to be operating in, you still choke. You see, you can do affirmations early in the morning and journal all of your positive thinking in the morning, but by noon, you are making fear-based decisions. So the key distinction here is that information changes your mind, but it does not change your identity, who you are. Your results in life are not produced by what you know, but in fact are produced by who you are. This is exactly why the high performers that consume the most content, and all high performers do this, but they don't get the results. The more you know and still don't change, this erodes your self-trust in the long run. You start to believe that the problem is you, when really the problem is the approach. So if information isn't the answer, then what about motivation? Why motivation and positivity makes things worse? Forcing positivity on top of negative subconscious patterns is like painting on top of mold. It looks better for a while and then usually returns back to the previous worst state. High performers fall into this because they're disciplined enough to, brute force their way through this. But brute forcing is not transformation, it is suppression. Brute forcing leads to burnout, emotional numbness, identity confusion, and then finally the eventual collapse into baseline. The motivation industry sells you a feeling, not a result. Every pump up video, every cold plunge, every I am affirmation temporarily spikes your dopamine, but does not create a root change at the core of your issues. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Suppressing your emotion doesn't dissolve the problem. It only drives it deeper. And the deeper it goes, the more it controls your behavior from the shadows. You end up far more stuck than before, but this time you're also exhausted from all the work you've put in. So if information doesn't work and motivation doesn't work, then what's actually going on? The reason you're stuck isn't because of intelligence, work ethic, or strategy. It's your identity. Your subconscious identity was formed by years of conditioning, emotional experiences, and patterns that got locked in way before you had any say in them. Think about it. By the time you were 7 years old, the blueprint of how you see yourself and the world around you was already being written. And that blueprint has been running quietly in the background ever since. You see, your subconscious does not care about your goals. What it cares about is keeping you safe, familiar, and consistent with the version of you that it already knows. So every time you try to grow out of it, it pulls you back. Every time you get close to that next level, it finds a way to self-sabotage and get back down. This is not a weakness. It is neuroscience. This is just how the brain works. The subconscious will always override the conscious under pressure. And that's exactly why you can set the goal, know the plan, feel all the motivation, and then still find yourself back at square one 3 weeks later. So the common patterns this shows up as are procrastinating on your most important tasks, avoiding high visibility opportunities, shrinking in rooms where you should be leading, destroying relationships and results right when you're about to break through, numbing out with distractions when things get uncomfortable. All of these are identity level responses and not character flaws. So if the root cause is identity, then what does it actually take to change it? This is what conventional mindset work gets wrong about change. Conventional mindset work operates at the conscious level. Journaling, goal setting, these are all surface level tools. Your conscious mind is responsible for 5% of your behavior, and the subconscious mind, that's responsible for 95% of your behavior. So essentially, you're trying to change 95% of your results using 5% of your conscious mind. And that's exactly the mismatch. And that's why it feels like you're pushing a boulder uphill every time. Real change requires going to the root of the problem and not analyzing it endlessly for years in therapy sessions, not suppressing it with motivation, and definitely not distracting yourself from it with your achievements. Rather, it's identifying it, understanding where it came from, and then very systematically dismantling it and replacing it with something new. This is what identity level work actually looks like. Finding the specific belief and the emotional experience that created the pattern. Understanding how it's been showing up in your decisions, in your relationships, and your results. Interrupting the pattern at the subconscious level with a repeatable and systematic process. Installing a new identity through consistent behavior that aligns with who you are becoming and not who you have been. This is definitely not soft work. This is the hardest and most important work that a high performer can do. So what actually changes when you begin doing this work? When identity shifts at the core level, everything else changes with it. You completely stop yourself from forcing action, and actions that you take feel completely natural and effortless. And you completely stop fighting resistance. The resistance just fades away. You stop becoming who you're trying to be through effort, and you simply start being that person. Decision making becomes a lot cleaner because fear is no longer taking control over your decisions. Your relationships improve because you are no longer projecting unresolved patterns onto the people around you. Your performance elevates not because you're working harder, but because you're no longer working against yourself. And the gap between who you are right now and who you know that you are capable of being starts to shrink. Not because you forced it, but because you finally removed what was blocking you from it. And that is what is available on the other side of real identity level work. And it is completely available to you, but not through another book, another course, or another video. It requires going to the root of who you are. So look, if you've been grinding through mindset work and still feel stuck, it's not because you are broken. And it's definitely not because change isn't possible for you. It's because you've been working on the wrong level. The books gave you information, the motivation gave you temporary spikes, the journaling gave you awareness, but none of it touched the subconscious patterns that are running your life at its core. And until that changes, nothing else will. Definitely not sustainably and not at the level that you're looking for transformation at. So you already know what to do. You've known it for a while. You see, the missing piece isn't more knowledge. It's becoming someone for whom the right actions are simply natural. That's the work. Now, you have two options. You can take everything I've laid out in this video and go do it yourself. Figure out your own patterns and just work through it alone. And I genuinely respect that some people are built to do that. Or if you're done cycling through the same patterns, done brute forcing your way to get achievements, and ready to actually do the deep identity level work that creates permanent change, then click the first link in the description and book a call with me. We only work with 2 to 3 clients at a time. Every single application is reviewed personally before an invitation is extended. This isn't for everybody. It's for the person who is serious about closing the gap between who they are today and who they know they are capable of being. And if that's you, there's a link in the description. Book the call, fill out the application, and I'll speak to you soon.